This video is made possible by the EA Creator Network. In this video, we're going to cover the skill tree's reaction for very specific legends and also provide tips. The legends we're going to cover is Mirage first, then Wraith, Conduit, Wattson, and wrap up with Vantage. Then we're going to discuss how to level up your armor. So let's deep dive into Mirage first with Draynilla. So our first legend we're going to cover, I have Dre here, and so I'm going to explain both of these, okay? So on the left-hand side of the tier list, you get to revive your allies, and it gets to heal them up to 75 HP. Or you could choose to gain an ult decoy and reduce the cooldown by 30 seconds. 30 seconds!
Damn, yeah, that's actually a lot, and his ult is already pretty up frequently, so
it's insane.
It's gonna
now,
be like
on the next
70-second cooldown.
On the next one, you gain a decoy charge, and you can have both of these active at once, or you can refresh a tactical on successful bamboozles.
That's sick too.
So now I pose a question to you as somebody who put a lot of time on Mirage. What would you pick on the first tier? What would be your natural gut instinct and your tips?
For the level 2 for the blue armor?
Yes.
I think honestly reviving with 75 HP, because that is insane. Like, that's a lot of health that you're gonna get back up with, and you'll still be able to fight. But I think it also determines if I have like a gold knock or not, you know? Because like if the gold knock, like obviously it's gonna give me more HP. But I think it's very situational. But if I don't have a gold knock, for sure that 75 HP, and if I do, then I'm gaining that extra ult decoy and the reduced cooldown.
Ooh, and that's nasty. I mean, hey, that's another bamboozle.
Yeah, it's gonna be gross. Oh yeah, like what I like about Mirage is that he just adds so much confusion to fights. You know, in a game like Apex where there's barely any audio anyways, like having a Mirage on the team is not bad. And with these changes, oh yeah, we might even see a little bit more Mirage, you know, in ranked and stuff like that.
It's exciting. Now, on the next tier, let's say you level up and you're ready. What would you pick? Would you pick to have an actual tactical charge to where you get to throw these bamboozles out and use them at the same time? Or would you prefer to just keep refreshing it and keep spamming bamboozle, bamboozle? What would you pick?
What was the first one again on the left side for the purple armor?
The first one is going to give you an extra charge, meaning you can throw 2 of them out. So you'll see on screen, boom, 1, 2. You get 2 of them, and you could control both at the same time.
That's crazy. There's so many decoys, bro. Holy.
So would you choose the extra tactical charge, or would you choose the other route?
I think I would go with that. I think I would go with the extra bamboozle, because like that's just another boozle. Let's say you don't have your ult up, you could throw like 2 boozles from 2 different angles, and like that enemy is gonna be so confused. Or like let's say 2 of like the enemies shoot it, and now you have 2 pings on 2 different teammates of the enemy squad. You know. So like you can kind of like position from there and really make your push from there, you know? I think that's definitely what I would choose, bro, because you create so much chaos too. Imagine like 4 steps of footsteps and they're all decoys.
That's
you don't even know where the real one's at.
Now, what I pose this to you, because you're Mirage player, you're much better at Mirage than I will ever be, and let's be honest.
Thank you. Bro.
Now, what if somebody kept shooting the wrong target and you threw out like 4 or 5 different bamboozles? Would that be something that interests you?
Yeah, hell yeah. I think honestly all these changes are great, and it's gonna make me honestly trying to like come back to Mirage again and really play him again, because for the longest time he just felt so lackluster, you know, compared to so many other legends in the game. But now it feels like he does what he does best, and he's gonna shine at what he does best, which is creating chaos and creating confusion and pretty much bamboozling people. His name is Mirage, you know?
Now, if you throw them out individually, you can control them individually if you want. But I would recommend throwing them both out and then control them at the same time. You see how I'm swapping between them? If that's what you want to do in reposition. But if you have them both out already, then you can control both of them. So I mean, there's so many of these guys running around, and of course, unfortunately, I couldn't test it in real time with like getting bamboozle with attack refresh. But listen, I'm a player who keeps shooting the wrong targets because I always assume the worst from players, and I always say that's a threat, and I just shoot anyways. Just imagine you shoot it out, and then another one comes out, and then another one comes out. You're like, for the love of God, which one's the real one? You know?
Exactly. And imagine you have your ult out too, and you also have that going. You just keep throwing them out, and you just create so much confusion. And like you said, for most players who like aren't top level preds, they're gonna shoot the first bamboozle they see, because it's just instinct, you know? Like you see someone on the screen, you're gonna shoot them. So when you're getting pings and like these people are just line up your decoys, you could just really make a play from there and really gain an advantage in these fights, because you know exactly where your enemy's at. Yeah, I'm gonna be grinding Mirage season 20, bro. Just know that.
Nice, dude. Does this get you excited? Is this exciting?
Oh, yeah, bro. Yes, I can't wait to see this, man, and I can't wait to actually get my hands on it and play it in game. And I'm excited for just honestly the future of Apex, because if this is like where we're starting at, this is the new foundation for like how the game is going to continue forward. I think it's going to be really, really great for the continuous seasons to come.
Now, on Monday, when we get to showcase this, I'd love for you to show your stream and then show people like your reaction here.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, it makes me smile. It means Apex is back, bro. Apex
yeah,
is
this
back.
is sick, bro. This is what, like, honestly, okay, so I knew about, like, the skill tree in a way, but I didn't know, like, the fundamentals of how it worked. But, like, I've been saying for a long time that Apex, at its core, needed a gameplay revamp because no matter what content they added, new maps, new guns, whatever, at the end of the day, we were still playing the same old Apex. And I feel like a lot of like day one players, like you, like myself, like a lot of our friends and peers, just bored. Like no matter what they added, we'd be bored in a week, 2 weeks, you know? So I'm glad that they actually finally revamped the entire base gameplay of Apex, and it's going to be a new experience for everybody playing going forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm excited. I can't wait.
What we're going to do is we're going to segue to the next legend, and we're going to talk with Drum Bum and get his reaction on some of the legends.
Yes, sir.
Now, what we're going to do is break down Wraith. We're going to showcase a skill tree, and I'm going to give the reaction of Drum Bum and tips and what he would choose, as well as give thought process and how she fits in the overall meta. So let's go ahead and break down Wraith. So Wraith on the upper skill tree, once you level to blue, you have an option between reducing the tactical cooldown by 5 seconds, or on the right, you can choose to also have her passive call out if a nearby squad is approaching, meaning you have a higher chance to hear that third-party squad. Now, the next level that you're going to see is on the left side, you can reduce your cooldown by 20%, or you can remove that wind up. That literally means you get OG Wraith back. All the fans of Wraith have been upset for years now about not having that. Drum Bum, how do you feel about that? Knowing that OG Wraith is back, like you got your OG, look at that, instant, it is back. It's instantaneous.
I cannot express to you as a Wraith main, I have 50,000 plus kills in this character, and I can't tell you how many times in those fights that I've died from hitting the wind up and putting my finger and wiggle it in the air for 5 minutes before I hop on my Q. This makes me so excited that this character is back to form because of the skill tree. I truly think that with this buff, with these changes, obviously you have to do the things to unlock this part of the skill tree and like be able to use this aspect of the character. You can't just hop in and have it immediately. And then sometimes, especially in a more competitive sense, like say we're bringing Wraith back to maybe ranked meta, maybe you might see her a little more in competitive, as we see a lot of legends right now. You might want to use those cooldown times to be able to get your port back faster. Some like, you know, it's like having a built-in ultimate accelerant. So that's a really, really good thing on its own. But selfishly, I'm not gonna lie, as a lot of times as a solo player and playing pubs or stuff like that, I'm so excited to get Wraith's instant Q back, and I think that it's gonna honestly make her so much more fun and a lot more dangerous, if I may say so myself.
So if you were to choose based on the first tier of a 5-second cooldown or her passive of finding if a third-party team is in the nearby area, which one would you choose?
So I definitely think it's very, very dependent on the circumstance and situation. That's why I think it's so cool about the tier, the tree, is that you can, you know, mix and match and use things differently in different times. I think for sure, knowing that we already do have like voice lines in the game that lets us know when like there's another team around, but having the advantage of knowing it so far in advance because of this use, and it kind of does super buff her her passive, which compared to a lot of other legends in the game, leaves a lot to be desired, to say the least. Sometimes it's not very accurate, sometimes it's a little delayed, you know, so this is a huge buff to her passive in general. But I'm not gonna lie, probably the best pick out of those two, especially if you have decent game sense. Now, if you're a new player and you don't really know what's going on, definitely go for the voice, right? You need to know when another team is coming, especially if you just are unfamiliar with what's going on in the game. But if you're a little more confident, a little more understanding of what, you know, how to play the character, how to play in these kind of lobbies, I would definitely go for the cooldown, me personally.
Nice. Now for the next one, let's say you level up. This, granted, being OG Wraith is exciting, but which one would you choose here? Would you reduce the ultimate cooldown by 20%? Kind of more of a competitive, I guess, if you use the ult a lot. Or are you going to go for the OG Wraith right off the rip? What would you choose? What would you do?
This definitely is dependent on the circumstance and situation. If I'm in pubs doing my thing, trying to drop 20 bombs, I'm 100% getting the insta Q back. I'm getting in and out of every situation I can. It's you know, a lot of times the OG players call Wraith, you know, the get out of jail free card. Well, that's been gone for a long time, but we might have that back, and it makes me super, super excited. But if I'm in a competitive situation, let's say I'm in a ranked game where I actually need to rotate and maybe get my, if I'm, say we're in an end game on World's Edge and somewhere like Skyhook, there's a lot of rotational abilities that are really, really good. You can get from one building to another, transport your whole team without you guys taking any damage or having really smart rotations, especially with our Wraith portal. The last time we had insta-Q, Wraith portal was a lot shorter, so it's a whole lot longer now. And if I'm in a competitive situation where I need to move my teammates, where I care about my teammates, I'm definitely running the reduced cooldown. That 20% is that's a lot of time off the clock, so it's gonna help a lot for sure in rotational situations.
Awesome. Now we wrapped up Wraith. Let's go on to the next legend. All right, next up we have Conduit. Conduit is really interesting because she's a highly picked legend, and knowing that she's even stronger than what she is going to be interesting to hear. So on the left side, we have the ability to showcase batteries on death boxes. On the right, what we see is her ultimate mine's radius is now increased by 10%. Now on the second tier, we have an option to tactically increase the range by 15%. Or on the next one, what we're going to see here is that her tactical gains an extra charge but heals at half heal duration. This one's interesting. It means you get two. You can heal two teammates, but it's at half shield duration. So I'm going to pass it off to you, Drumbum. If you were playing Conduit and you wanted a Conduit on your team, what would you select based on the tier? So first tier, you choose between battery countdown and death boxes or the radius increased by 10%. What would you pick?
I'm not gonna lie, personally, I'm going for the radius 10% buff every single time. It is really good to have that knowledge of knowing if Deathbox has batteries or not, because a lot of times people will waste their time, especially in like high pressure situations. They'll waste their time looting a Deathbox, trying to find some bats, trying to reset, trying to get in a good position, and just knowing, okay, this if I only need batteries, this box has no bats, I can just keep it pushing. I think that's definitely a very positive thing. But her ultimate is one of the most powerful zoning ultimates in the game, and we know how important in a battle royale zoning is. If you look at, the most popular aspect of Apex right now is competitive in ALGS. We see, Catalyst and Bangalore and Conduit being used so heavily to anchor, to zone their teams, to stop third parties from pushing them, to set off block off an area or a situation. So I definitely think that buffing that radius of that Conduit ult that's already so strong in itself at stopping pushes or even use it aggressively to push into a building. You can throw your ult into a building and now it's covering an even bigger spot, forcing a team to move or waste time shooting it. So I think without a doubt, my number one pick for this, for such a strong ultimate already to get even stronger, there's no doubt, especially on the first tier, there's no doubt I'm going with the 10% buff.
Nice. Now for the next tier, would you choose to get an extra Conduit tactical charge to heal an additional teammate? Keep in mind the time is halved. We're looking at it here on screen. Or would you choose to increase that range by 15%, or like a ranged healer? What would you pick?
Yeah, I'm personally picking the left side of the tier list. So I'm definitely picking the one that is I can heal two of my teammates at the exact same time. Although it's only half shield, if you guys don't know, I haven't played very much Conduit, when you heal yourself, it's only half shield, but when you heal one other teammate, it's full shield. That full shield is very powerful, but a lot of times it does leave one teammate kind of in the dust. And as a, on the side of a skill issue, sometimes, you might want to heal one of your teammates that's low and the other one's not, but you press the wrong, you aim the wrong way and you heal the one that doesn't need to be healed, and the other one's left in the dust and probably gets knocked, and now you guys are a two-man. So it eliminates a room for error. It eliminates that margin for error where no matter what, both of your teammates are getting healed. You won't misclick and heal the wrong one. And even though it's only half, that half is still so powerful in resetting you and allowing you to get back into fights. Even if you have a red armor, it still puts you in a situation where it could be make or break. It could literally make or break a 3v3 fight. So I'm definitely going with, personally, I'm definitely going with the two-man healing versus the range. Now the range is still good, don't get me wrong, because a lot of times, especially as a solo queuer, your teammates tend to run off and get themselves cracked or almost knocked. It would help a ton to allow you to give yourself the time to catch up with them, to make sure they don't go down. But I think working, especially Apex is such a team-oriented game, and especially in something like ranked, you guys might be playing a bunch of ranked with your friends. You guys are usually staying pretty close to each other. So I definitely would go for the two-man heal.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your insight, man. And we're going to segue on to our next part of the video. Now, what we're going to discuss is Wattson's abilities and tips. On the left here, you're going to revive allies to 50 HP. On the right, you intercept and spawn arc stars. And of course, the tier 2, what you do is you get a double ult at double the HP, or you can drop 2 ultimates. So let's cover this again in quicker detail and just break this down. On tier 1, what you have at your disposal is you have the ability to revive teammates to 50 HP. Now, what you can do afterwards is you can spawn arc stars. Now let's pause and think this through real quick. If you find that you're always reviving your teammates or you're the support of the squad, then it makes sense to revive allies to 50 HP. Now, if you find that you are using your ultimate for defensive purposes, you need more grenades for your team, then of course going towards the interception of arc stars is going to benefit you a lot more. Now for tier 2, this one's a little tricky. Having double the HP and capacity is massive, but of course having 2 of them is even better, because you have more coverage, but the downside is both of these are at half HP. So what can you do? Well, I guess the reality is that if you find that you need more coverage because you're occupying more space outside, or you're having a difficult building to hold, 2 of them work better. But of course, if you find your team works better off of 1 and you are better working off a central location, that would be better as well. Of course, ultimate accelerants are faster. You see here on screen just how much faster they are, choosing with the talent tree on the right. So you do get that extra benefit. So now let's discuss Vantage and break down Vantage's perks. Vantage is a little tricky. What she can do is she can gain access to ring consoles on the first tier. On the next tier of tier 1, which is blue, she can gain ultimate accelerants, which grant 4 total bullets. Now let's think this through. Overall, if you have another legend that is a control legend, you're going to want to stick with the ultimate accelerant if you already have one. If you don't have one, this is where Vantage can be more useful. The next tier unfortunately didn't work in the test range, and we're going to discuss those now. You have the option on the second tier here where you have improved echolocation, which is a double jump, or you have the option to refresh echolocation on hits with Sniper's Mark. This one depends. If you find you're more aggro and you're pushing off of your snipes, this can be very helpful. Unfortunately, we weren't able to test the double jump and how it improved, but when it's live, we'll be able to test this more and see how it overall plays. What we're going to segue to now is we're going to talk about how to level up your armors and the experience behind it. Now, as we wrap up the video, I want to discuss how you level your armors. Armors have been removed from ground loot and is tied to the experience skill tree. Blue equals unlocking the first tier, purple unlocking tier 2. You can pick your abilities on the main screen or via your inventory. Of course, once you choose, it's locked in for that round. To pick your armor, you don't actually need to do damage. You can do the following. On screen, here's a list. You can hit a perk bin for 100 points, console and beacon for 200, harvester for 400, or even do a crate reveal for 50. These are just some examples. Now your damage does equal immediately 1 point. So if you do 1,000 damage, that's 1,000 points. If you get a knock, this is 100 points. If you get an assist on a knock, that's 75 points. These level your armor core, and once you have your core, you don't ever lose it. You grab a white or a blue core, it just adds to your overall armor. Now repeat that, you do not lose your cores, and they're always tied to you. Now if you go above your current armor, it only actually counts towards temporary, so there is no skipping that. So again, if you enjoyed this video and you want more detailed information on Season 20, comment down below what you want to know. What legends do you want to see us cover? Do you want to see Guape cover Revenant? Do you want to see Lemonhead discuss Octane? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys all in the next one.